right, welcome to the Board Game Closet. My name's Jimmy.
I'm Rod.
I'm Bradley.
And today we are giving you a preview of Jurassic Parts, which should be on Kickstarter right now.
Right now.
Get out there.
Now, this video is made possible by 25th Century Games, so thank you so much for helping us give this preview to all of our viewers. And if you have any questions about the game, make sure you put them in the comments and we will do our best to try to answer them.
Yes.
In Jurassic Parts, we are paleontologists that are digging up bones and trying to piece together the best dinosaur fossils that we can. So on your turn, you are simply going to be taking chisels that you're going to be placing out on this modular board that changes from game to game.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. Modular boards, I love.
Love them.
So, I mean, I just love the fact that every time you play this game, it's going to be a different type of scenario that you have to use for any strategy that you're using in the game.
Yeah, and so the way that you set up the game is you actually take these tiles, you shuffle them all together, and then you turn half of them up, facing up, and then you reshuffle them together. And then you put them out on the board, and so some are going to be face up, some are going to be face down. So you can visually see, okay, I need that Tyrannosaurus Rex part, and it's over there. Oh, I want to get that wild piece, it's in the middle. And so instantly you can start to carve out a path to get the pieces that you want, but it doesn't always play out that way.
Right.
And so the basic premise is that once you have isolated a certain section of these by placing down your chisels, then that piece breaks off. Mm-hmm. And then you flip over every tile that's in there, and now we get into the part of the game where you can kind of swoop in and be a part of a transaction, even if you weren't necessarily the one who contributed the most. And that's how it works. Whoever contributes the most will be able to take their pick first of the tiles that are there, and they get half of those. And so, okay, I love these two, I get this. And now the next person who contributed the most, then they get to pick half of what's left. So it's half of a half of a half of a half kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And so it goes until all the people that contributed have taken something, and anything that is left goes to the field leader. And we'll talk about that more later.
Yeah, totally.
But that's definitely one way. That's the basic premise of how you get these fossils, is you're going to be laying down these chisels to isolate pieces of fossils, and then you get to take them. And what are you doing with those fossils? Well, of course, you're trying to make a dinosaur. And so on your little player aid that you have, it shows you that there are 4 or 5 different types of dinosaurs that you can make. And they show you the bones that you need. Yeah. And then on each one of the fossils, it not only has a picture that matches, but it also has a little icon that tells you this is a velociraptor piece. And so you can get that piece and you hold on to them until you're ready to reveal that, hey, I completed the velociraptor. When you reveal these, you're going to get an amber for them. And amber is the currency of the game that you get to use to interact with what they call the field leader. And the field leader allows you to essentially break the rules a little bit and get extra pieces, because you can, we'll talk about how chisels work and things like that, but basically the field leader might have some fossils that you need to complete some of your dinosaurs. So the way that chisels work is if there's a location on the board that does not have rocks, you just place the chisel down. But if there's a location that has rocks on one side, it's going to actually cost you 2 chisels to be able to take that spot. And if there's rocks on both sides of the divide, then it's actually going to cost you 3 chisels to do that. And so that means on a round, chisels are very
important.
Very important.
Very important.
And that's something else that you could buy from the field leader, is if you turn in one of these ambers that you got, you could get a couple extra chisels and maybe set yourself up for a really big turn.
Totally, because you can't do anything without them. So say also you figure you only need 2 chisels this round, you can also save 1 chisel for next round. So it brings more strategy into your next turn, some anticipation there.
At the end of the game, you're going to get points for any completed dinosaurs that you have, and those range anywhere from just 1 point for a pterodactyl all the way up to 15 points for the Bronchiosaurus,
Totally.
if I said that right.
The big boy.
The big one. And so it really creates this cool thing at the end where you can look down on the table and everybody has their dinosaurs laid out that they've created. And I don't know, it's just the presentation on this is really, really cool when you start to piece these dinosaurs together.
Yeah, and I love how when you chisel a corner off and all these mystery pieces and then a tail is revealed or feet are revealed and you get to, kind of have this second of excitement of what is that? Do I need it? What can I do with that? Or also who else may need it or want it, and can you prevent them from getting it as quick as they want? I love that.
Well, it happens almost every time when you aren't the majority leader and somebody else chooses first, as you're just waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope they don't take what I need, and then they didn't, and you get the right part.
So that's actually the neatest part of the game. Well, that's a neat part of the game. I don't want to say it's the neatest part, but it is where you can swoop in there. And I don't want to say steal, but that's supposed to
You get in on it.
You get in there and you take away what they thought they were going to do, and you change it to what you wanted.
Yeah, because
that is a big part.
A big part, and your whole turn could be spent. I'm taking this corner, and then someone swoops in and say, "Hey, I'll take a part of that corner," and just adds on to it, and that also changes the movement of the play on somebody's next turn. Maybe the line that's being cut across the board grows bigger or grows smaller just by a couple of chisels that were laid down on that player's turn.
Exactly.
And so the game will progress until all of the pieces have been taken. And so it really just has this closing in kind of effect as the game goes on, where like it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And then now at the end, now you're really having to count out which half of this am I going to end up taking. And so that's kind of neat the way that works. There are special ability cards that you can use. You can either deal 1 or 2 of these to people at the beginning of the game, and these are one-time use abilities, such as you can resolve a tie in your favor.
Great.
Super huge card.
Great.
You can get a bonus amber when you complete one of the big boys, which is cool. You can carry over 2 chisels to the next turn, or you can peek at one of the tiles that are underneath it. And so there's special abilities. This adds that next level. I would probably play it regular first and then maybe add these in.
Right. Yeah, totally.
But if you're an experienced gamer, just throw them in at the beginning.
throw 'em
It
in.
is worth it. It's not that complicated. But at one point, you'll just love that moment where when you flip over your card and you say, I'm carrying this over, I'm going to peek at this, or somebody else divides the board and they say, I've got majority, and you say, well, nope, because I've got this card. And so it just adds that little bit of flair.
Yeah, this game is really easy to teach, but the strategy that's brought by how many directions a play could go and all of that, and another player swoop in at the last minute, and that's only intensified with these ability cards that, like Jimmy said, you can just throw it down at the last second, and it matters so much. Just disrupt it totally.
I like the simplicity of the game. This is not a complicated game. You're going to explain it in about 5 minutes, and you're going to be playing, and then you're going to be off to the races. And then because it plays quick enough, you could play. This is a game that I think people would say, okay, I got it now. Let's play again.
Yes,
exactly.
Totally.
And one thing I don't know if we talked enough about, but the artwork on it is just fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, from the board, from each of the pieces to the board to what you have in your cards for your archaeologist, or what they call them,
paleontologist.
And then of course the artwork in the box is just fantastic.
Yes.
Great. Yeah, give us more of that. It's so good.
So good.
All right, great. So that's Jurassic Parts.
Yeah, awesome. Woohoo!
If you got any questions, put them in the comments below, and then follow that link and check out the Kickstarter.
Get out there.